Guys, the wait is over. 2021 fight calendar officially starts this Saturday live on ABC. We got Max Holloway versus Calvin Kattar, and Nick and I are talking about the main card and giving our predictions right now. What's up, Barnhill family? Welcome back to the channel.
Yo.
So, Nick, we have the first, it's the first fight card of 2021. It's also the first time that the UFC will ever be debuting, premiering on ABC. This is kind of a big deal for MMA in general, but certainly for the UFC.
Yeah, this is huge. ABC is kind of one of the leaders in all of network television.
Yeah.
And for them to recognize the UFC and mixed martial arts as a major sport, giving them a major slot like a Saturday afternoon, because it is an afternoon fight, guys.
Yeah.
They're doing it early. I think it's really awesome for the sport. And I think that the UFC nailed it with the main event, making it Max Holloway, Calvin Kattar. I mean, this is just a fireworks guaranteed fight.
The matchmakers always do a great job when you're having a debut of some kind. When you do the ESPN Plus debut, I can even think back to when they did the Fox debut.
Right.
You had JDS versus Cain Velasquez as a free main event. I mean, what better to get you hooked onto a sport? Somebody who's just casually hopping through the channels and they happen upon Max Holloway versus Calvin Kattar throwing down. I think we're going to win some fans over with this card. The card, literally main card top to bottom, is excellent.
Yeah, and all of the fights, the matchups were prepared perfectly. You're going to have fireworks, and you're going to have, I don't mean to slight casuals when I say this, but like you're going to have casual favorites. You know, these are the kind of fights casuals enjoy. Two guys that come forward, they don't like to take steps back, and you're going to see it all night. So every fight that these people that may be getting introduced to MMA for the first time, every fight they see on this card is going to be an exciting one, and that's what you need. And there's nothing against like a wrestler dominant fighter or something like that, but when you have two strikers that are going to move forward, you're going to get crazy fights, you're going to get crazy knockouts, and you're going to gain some new fans.
Absolutely, and I think this whole card was picked very well.
Yeah.
So let's move in. We'll start with the predictions, starting with the opener of the main card. We have Puna Soriano.
Yeah.
He is a plus 135 underdog, and he's going to be taking on the highly touted Serbian Dusko Torodovic at a minus 165 favorite. Both these guys are undefeated. Puna is 7-0. Torodovic is 10-0. Both have a lot of knockouts. They're both in their mid-20s. This is an exciting fight. This is a come-forward type of fight. What's your take on this one?
Well, somebody's always got to go.
That's
it. Dana said you don't want to miss this one.
Yeah.
This is going to be a crazy fight, just like all the other ones. But this one in particular is going to be wild. You know, we don't really worry about protecting the O as much in MMA. But when you've got two guys that are naturally undefeated and they're relatively young in their career, you know, 10 wins, 7 wins, and they haven't lost yet, there is this sense of invincibility that they kind of come into the octagon with, and they're both going to bring that.
Sure.
And I think that just lends to a great matchup. I do have Todorovic getting the win on this one. He's got a little bit more experience. He does some really exciting things in the octagon, and I just see him edging this one out.
Yeah, fun fact about him, he actually knocked out Michel Pereira before he came into the UFC back in 2018.
Wow.
So he's not been in the UFC that long. I mean, 2018 wasn't that long ago, and Michel Pereira is one of the funnest, most exciting electric fighters to watch, and this guy knocked him out.
And it shows you that he's a UFC caliber fighter because he was winning high-level fights outside of the UFC. You know, he wasn't just fighting anybody, some guy that was later on cleaning up the arena, but he was fighting real talent on his way to the UFC. So those 10 wins that he's got are against legit competitors.
Yeah, he's KO'd some legit people.
Right.
6 KOs to 3 submissions, so 10 fight. Only one of them has gone to decision. All the other 9 have been a finish. A nice balance there. I also have Todorovic in this fight. I think Puna is a great fighter. He's exciting. He throws heavy. He throws with bad intentions with everything that he throws.
Yeah.
But I do think it lends him to be hitting, or to be hit, often. And I think Todorovic is going to find the precise shot that ends the night. I'm going to go second round TKO Todorovic.
Yeah, and I like that prediction. I think that they're going to do something a little bit more exciting, and it's going to be a first round finish. I think he's going to add to the TKO column. him and get it done in the first round.
Okay, that's a solid prediction.
Yeah.
So
I think with ABC, when they're making their debut, they want to hit the ground running, and with that main card coming in hot, I think that these guys are just they're gonna throw it, and they both have the power to shut the lights off.
Yeah, I don't know what is airing on ABC prior to this, but I'm sure there'll be some people that are watching it that kind of spill over.
Yeah.
And if that's the first fight they see, that might lock them in for the rest of the card.
Absolutely, probably college football or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's over, but who knows with the
cares?
COVID schedule?
Who cares? Yeah.
So next we have the young stud Joaquin Buckley.
Oh yeah,
he's coming in as a pretty heavy favorite, coming off of 2 spectacular knockouts to end 2020.
For sure,
one of the most insane knockouts I've ever seen. That spinning back kick was back in October. Then he caught himself another knockout in November. So he's hot. His stock is high right now. That was his response to the knockout loss to Kevin Holland. So he's recovered very well from that. He's a heavy favorite. He's taking on Italian fighter Alessio de Chirico. I think that's how you pronounce it. He's a plus 230 underdog. He is on a 3-fight losing streak, and he hasn't won since he won a split decision back in the summer of 2018. Okay. So it's been a while since he's had his hand raised. Usually you don't see this type of matchmaking, somebody on a 2-fight win streak taking on somebody with a 3-fight losing streak. However, I do believe with the excitement and the crazy knockout ability that Joaquin Buckley has, the UFC is trying to fast track him to get some wins and start to become a household name. I think that's why they fed him this Italian Alessio fighter. I do believe Joaquin Buckley knocks him out in this fight. What do you think?
Yeah, I think the same thing. You know, after that loss to Kevin Holland, it's very tough for fighters to lose and then regain composure and then get back in there and win.
Yeah.
But he was able to dust that one off and then come out with, he borrowed Justin Gaethje's nickname for this one. He was the highlight of 2020. Yeah. 2020.
No question.
So I think now he's got a refound confidence in his skills, and he's got this new momentum that he's riding with, and he's looking to continue these very impressive performances. And I do think that they're kind of taking the boxing approach on this as far as where his next steps in his career go. And there's no easy fights in the UFC, but I do think he's going to be eating a big portion of Italian come Saturday night. He's gonna do work, and I think he's gonna get him out of there. Maybe not quite as impressive as his last couple knockouts, but I do think that he gains some good experience and maybe gets a late finish, maybe a 3rd round TKO.
Okay, so you think Alessio is going to give him some trouble early on?
A little bit.
Okay.
Correction, 2nd round TKO.
2nd round TKO. Okay. Yeah, I think that Buckley is going to have a good year this year.
Yeah.
And by the way, just off topic, he got knocked out with a straight 1-2 by Kevin Holland. Just how good is Kevin Holland?
Yeah, Kevin Holland's a monster.
Watch out for him in 2021, guys. Don't sleep on Kevin Holland. I know we've been hot on him, but I think it's well-deserved.
Yeah, no. And Joaquin Buckley, I'm sure he wants to get that one back. Maybe later on in both of their careers, we'll see them match up again. They're both very exciting fighters. I think that Joaquin's got a lot of growing to do in this sport, but I think he's one of those guys that is improving by leaps and bounds every time he steps in the octagon.
I think he's finding his footing. He comes from very humble beginnings, and he said that, I didn't even have the money to go to a gym back in the day, so I was just shadow boxing as best I could and punching a heavy bag. And so obviously now he's making more money. People know who he is. Any gym in the country that trains professional MMA fighters would love to have him in their stable. Right. So he's now starting to get the proper training and attention that he needs to kind of back up some of that physicality and athleticism that he has. And so I think over time, over the next 18 months or so, we're going to see major improvements out of Joaquin Buckley. But yeah, he's going to finish Alessio 2nd round.
Yeah, good call.
So moving on now, we have Santiago Ponzinibbio versus Li Jinliang.
Yeah, I've been waiting to see Ponzinibio back in there.
Yeah, well, actually I looked it up because I couldn't remember. I said, it has been a long time since we've seen Ponzinibio in the octagon. And it has been since 2018. We're in 2021 now. He had a life-threatening illness, some type of infection that got into his blood. He didn't. He was very private about it, and so he's been off for quite a while. He didn't know that he would ever fight again. He didn't know if he would survive this infection. Wow. So before that, man, he was killing everybody. Right. He was on a 7-fight win streak, knocked out Neil Magny, beat Mike Perry, knocked out Gunnar Nelson.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought that Santiago Ponzinibbio could have potentially been the champion
Yeah.
in 2019 or at least been fighting for a belt had it not been for that injury. He's back. He's the heavy favorite, even though he hasn't fought in a long time, and Lee is extremely tough. So Ponzinibio is a minus 280 favorite to a plus 220 by Lee. Lee is coming off a decision loss to Neil Magny in March. He's got a good mix of submissions and knockout ability. He's got 7 KOs to 5 submissions. I think the odds makers had this sort of skewed because you're coming a guy who had a decision loss to Magny, common opponent, a guy who Magny got starched by and who looked like a world beater before he took his time off. How do you see this one going?
Well, I think it's an appropriate return fight for Ponzinibio because Lee is a great fighter. He's a tough as nails type of 170 guy, and it's just one of those things where even if a guy was on a 3-fight win streak but it's been 3 years almost since he's fought, you need to let him get his feet back in the water a little bit. And
7-fight win streak.
Right. 7-fight win streak, but 3 of those fights were major opponents.
Yeah.
And I think it's best that you let them get back in there and kind of ease them into things because it's hard to jump right back into the deep end. And that's kind of where he belongs at 170. Even though he's taken some time off, I think he's 1 or 2 fights and wins away from being right there with some of those big dogs at 170, and I think he's got the skills. And also, he just fought the toughest fight of his life, and with a medical emergency like what he was going through, nobody in the octagon is going to present a more difficult situation. So you can't help but kind of cheer for him a little bit in this one. I think he's going to come out and shake the ring rust off and get a little experience, and Lee's going to present some things for him that he's going to have to deal with. But I think Ponzinibio comes back and gets in the win column.
Yeah, I think this is a great piece of matchmaking because Santiago Ponzinibbio, even if he's been off almost 2.5 or however long it's been, I think it's been about 2.5 years, but his last fight being in 2018, he's still Santiago Ponzinibbio at the end of the day. So when he comes in, you can't give him a guy that nobody's ever heard of. Also, a guy who had a medical emergency, he's been out for a couple of years. You can't throw him to the top of the heap either. Lee is an excellent opponent for him. It's going to be a challenge. Lee is very hard to finish. He's got a great gas tank. The Chinese fighters are continuing to get better and better and better, and I expect Lee to be improved in this fight from his loss to Magny. I don't expect him to be improved enough to beat Ponzinibio. I got Ponzinibio possibly by decision or late TKO stoppage, 3rd round stoppage.
Yeah, I've got him winning by decision as well. It would be really cool to see a statement victory, a statement KO or something like that.
Lee's hard to finish.
Lee's tough as nails. I think speed's going to be the major difference in this. Ponzinibio is a quick fighter. Yeah. And Lee is a powerful fighter, and he's got the stamina and stuff, but he is a little bit slower off the punch and off the counter. So I think Ponzinibio is going to find some success with being the faster fighter.
Absolutely. So moving into the co-main event now, we've got all of 76 years of combined age in the co-main event. I'm talking about Carlos Condit, the 36-year-old stud, legend of the sport, taking on the 40-year-old Matt Brown. Yeah. Now, I just saw before we cut this video an article on MMA Junkie that Matt Brown said that this will likely be his last fight. So he's kind of, 40 years old. Frankly, neither one of these two guys need to do anything else to cement themselves as legends of the sport. The elbow knockout of Diego Sanchez that Matt Brown had, Carlos Condit beat Nick Diaz. These guys have been around it. They've been in it and around it for an extremely long time. Condit was on a 5-fight losing streak before he got that decision victory against Court McGee. Matt Brown, he just came off a TKO loss in May of 2020. Both of these guys are winning 1, losing 3 type of that's sort of the reality of their situation right now. They're both taking on each other at the end of their careers. How do you see this one going?
Well, if you would have told me that these two guys had already matched up at some point and this was a rematch or even a trilogy, I'd have believed you. I would have assumed that these two guys would have been paired up at some point.
I almost thought I was wrong in thinking that they hadn't. I was like, I need to go back and look at their records because I'm sure these guys, there's no way that Carlos Condit and Matt Brown never fought each other.
Right. And they both have this kind of a dark presence and their skill sets are similar in that they're just ruthless, stone cold killers. Matt Brown has some of the craziest knockouts. Carlos Condit has some of the best striking, that the 170 division, especially back in the day, had ever seen.
Yeah.
So I think that these guys really will bring the fight. If Matt Brown's saying it's his last fight, he seems to me like the kind of guy that's going to go out with a bang. And win, lose, or draw, you're going to get an insane fight. I just happen to think that there's one more scary KO left in the arsenal for Matt Brown to give us, and I think he might get this one done and then sail off into the sunset.
Wow. Yeah, and it's worth noting he's a plus 125 underdog. Matt Brown is to a minus 155 favorite for Condit.
So close.
I'm gonna go against you on this one. I think Carlos Condit's gonna get this done.
Yeah.
I think when Matt Brown's saying I've got 1 foot out the door, we know how it looks for fighters who are 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Right. Sometimes we don't know how well he's prepared in camp. I've not heard anything that he's ill prepared, and I'm not offering that Matt Brown would be anything other than professional. I'm just saying that when you're at a press conference a couple days before a fight, talking about it being your last fight, talking about retirement, you've already kind of set your focus and your sights on other things. And I think Carlos Condit is still a very, very skilled fighter. I mean, he's got incredible jiu-jitsu skills. He's very precise with his striking. His gas tank is incredible. I mean, he outlasted Nick Diaz and beat him in a decision. Who does that? So I think that Carlos Condit is going to get this win. I think it's going to be a fantastic fight, possibly fight of the night. It goes all 3 rounds. Carlos Condit wins it 2-1.
Nice. Yeah, that's a great, probably a fair decision or a fair prediction to make, and I think a decision's a smart way to go. But for some reason, I'm leaning towards Matt Brown, and I think we're going to get some sort of crazy KO, and I'm just hoping for that. I think the casual fans that are going to tune into ABC or have their TV left on ABC are going to be blown away by this type of performance because these guys are just going to go at it.
This card is really exciting. They knew what they were doing when they put this card together. For really ABC, did. You got to come out with a bang.
Absolutely.
And speaking of a bang, how about a banger of a main event? Max Holloway versus Calvin Kattar. Max is a decent favorite, minus 205 to plus 165 to Kattar. Fun fact about Max Holloway, since his loss to Conor McGregor in 2013, he went on a 13-fight win streak. Right. And that streak was only broken when he went up to 155 to take on Dustin Poirier in what was an incredible fight that could have gone either way. That's the thing about Max as of late. His fights could go either way, and so he's lost 2 in a row to Alexander Volkanovski, and you have Kattar, who's got a lot of confidence right now. He's coming off a 2-fight win streak to Jeremy Stevens, Dan Ige. So this is going to be an excellent fight. These guys are very similar. They're very tall for the division. They like to come forward. They like to throw straight punches. Both of them throw a lot of volume. Who wins this one?
Well, there's a lot to unpack here. And, Max Holloway is one of those guys that it seemed so invincible and undeniable. And then he loses a title fight at a division above him, and then people kind of knock him down a little bit. And then he goes in with Volkanovski. I'll give Volkanovski the first one, but he, in my opinion, won that second fight against Volkanovski. Yeah. But it seems like, he's losing, and now he's on a losing streak, and now he's out of his prime. It's like he's not even 30 years old yet. The guy's still absolutely one of the best featherweights to have ever done it, and that is still competing right now.
And it's worth noting, Kattar is 3 years older than Holloway, if you can believe that.
Yeah, that's kind of funny. I saw he did a little piece, and he was saying that if this was high school, he's the senior, and Holloway's the freshman, and he's going to bully him like he's a freshman.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, fight experience is a little bit different, fight age and all that. But Max Holloway, I'm not ready to write Max off at all.
By a long shot.
I don't really like to subscribe to there's levels to this type of thing, because at this high of a level, when you're talking about top 5 guys in the UFC, they're on the same level. Mm-hmm. And Max Holloway, I think he's just got his back up against the wall. And when you have a fighter who's as good as he is, and they feel like the world is now like forgetting about them or forgetting about how, the Roy Jones Jr. song, y'all must have forgot. Right. I feel like that's what's playing in Max Holloway's mind, and should probably be playing in his gym when he's training. Yeah. Because if y'all forgot, he's going to come back and remind you. And I think Calvin Kattar will be a UFC champion at some point, but I don't think that this is a stepping stone to his first title shot. I think Max Holloway gets back to his winning ways and becomes the Robert Whittaker of the 145 division, where nobody can beat him but the guy who's got the belt. Izzy beat everybody,
right?
But nobody can beat Robert Whittaker to get back to him. But Volkanovski beat Max Holloway. We're not going to get that, but also nobody else is going to get past Max for a little while.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be extremely interesting to see how that Ortega-Volkanovski fight goes.
Yeah.
Because, like you said, I'm not sure if Holloway wins this fight and Ortega loses, and so they're going to immediately make the rematch again for the third time, Holloway-Volkanovski. But who knows? Talking about this fight, I think you're absolutely right. This is Max's chance to come in and reintroduce himself as a polarizing figure in the 145 division
to a massive amount of casual fans that have maybe never heard of him before.
Exactly. And Max is a great champion. I mean, when you talk about a guy that went on a 13-fight win streak that was cutting weight to fight Khabib and then got pulled from that at the last minute and then did go up and fight Dustin Poirier and put on a hell of a show. I mean, Max Holloway is as game as they come.
100%.
And Calvin Kattar is also very, very game and very, very skilled. Calvin Kattar's boxing, pure boxing, might be some of the best boxing in the UFC right now, without a doubt. But so is Max's, and Max has been in so many wars. I mean, neither one of these guys have a crazy finish ratio. They're kind of like the smaller Kamaru Usman. They would rather beat the hell out of you for 5 rounds.
Right.
And make you never want to fight them again than to just start you in the first round and have your opponent say, you caught me.
Right.
So I think this is going to be a fight that goes all the way. I think this is going to be a 5-round fight. I think it's going to be a 5-round war. The difference here is experience.
Yeah.
Max Holloway has fought Conor McGregor. He has fought Dustin Poirier. He has been in there with the who's who, Alexander Volkanovski, you name it. He's beaten everybody. Calvin Kattar is Jose Aldo. You know, Calvin Kattar is on his way up. And he's got some good wins. Jeremy Stevens is no slouch. Dan Ige is no slouch.
Beautiful KO.
They're also not Dustin Poirier.
Yeah.
They're also not Alexander Volkanovski. So they're also not Brian Ortega.
Yeah.
I think that Max Holloway has the experience, the chip on his shoulder, and the just the technical skill all around as a martial artist. Not just in boxing, I would give a slight edge to Kattar, but all around as a martial artist and knowing what to do to win rounds, Holloway has the edge in my book on that. So I'm picking Holloway to win a decision, 4-1, possibly 3-2 in what could be the fight of the night.
Yeah, I think this has fight of the night written all over it. And Calvin Kattar has shown us that he is capable of going 5 rounds, and that he actually gets better as the fight goes on. When he fought Zabit, if that fight would have been 5 rounds, which it should have been 5 rounds because it was a main event, I think Calvin would have been able to overpower him and then just overwhelm Zabit and then get a win that, you know, was probably against the toughest guy in the division that isn't
no doubt
the champ. And I think that Max Holloway he's just got that chip on his shoulder, and he's been through so many wars, like you said, that he's seen all this before. He knows how hard a puncher can punch. He knows how great and crisp Calvin Kattar is going to come in and look. But I think that he's going to drag him into some deep waters and maybe show him around championship rounds that he hasn't quite experienced yet. And I do have it going decision as well. If Calvin can finish Max Holloway, we got a real star on our hands, because nobody does that.
Boy, do we.
And I think if the finish does happen, Max gets it done. But I'm leaning more towards a decision, probably 3-2, because Calvin is good at winning rounds.
What's the crazy statistic you told me? Max Holloway has never been knocked down.
Yeah.
He's never been put. So not only has he never been knocked out, he's never been knocked down.
Right. He's never hit the canvas off a shot. So
wow,
pretty crazy.
Yeah. Good luck finishing that guy.
Yeah.
And so
And I think sometimes when he points at the center of the octagon and just wants to brawl, he's willing to throw caution to the wind 100%. A lot of people are not willing to do that with him because they usually don't wind up winning that situation. I think Calvin realizes that this is his best chance to jump to a title fight, and you're going to see a little bit more of a cautious fighter in Calvin. And Max is going to come in there cautious with a game plan, but willing to exchange and willing to throw down at a moment's notice.
Yeah. And I think what you're going to see here is you're going to see the first 2 or 3 rounds go back and forth.
Yeah.
What I mean is I think Kattar might win the first round. Max is kind of feeling him out, walking him down a little bit, and Kattar lands a few more crisp jabs, and he's able to steal that round. Second round might go Max's way. It might go back and forth. I think Max secures this fight in rounds 4 and 5.
Yeah.
I think that's where Max Holloway does his best work, and we're going to see if Kattar can dig deep and win those rounds, because I think whoever wins rounds 4 and 5 is going to win the fight, and I think Holloway is going to do that.
Yeah, I've got him win a decision as well. And the people couldn't be getting a better fight for the debut of ABC. I mean, when you talk about just a fan favorite fight, this is the matchup. Calvin is a monster. Max is... anytime you want to bring new fans on and get them on board for the show, you put Max Holloway on the card, and you're going to have a great night of fights.
No question, no question. Well, guys, thanks so much for watching. Just real quick before we end the video, let's run down our predictions one last time. We both picked Dusko Todorovic to win. Both picked Joaquin Buckley to win.
Yes.
Both have Ponzinibio. Where we differed was the co-main event. I have Carlos Condit, you have Matt Brown, and then we both picked Max Holloway.
Yeah, we usually only pick differently on 1 or 2 fights per card, but it'll be fun.
We have a lot of the same genetic makeup, so we tend to pick similarly. Guys, thank you all so much for watching. We hope you enjoy the fights. This is the start of 3 amazing cards on Abu Dhabi and Fight Island. And enjoy. Please, as always, like, comment, and subscribe.
Remember, this fight card is happening in the daytime on ABC, so tune in.
Yeah, good point there. And check us out on audio where you listen to podcasts, guys. We're there.
Yeah.
Thanks so much. Have a great day.
Peace.